Okay, in outdoor sketching perspectives using freehand, first you have to create sort of your vanishing point. So in conceptual, vanishing points are the imaginary points wherein your line of sight vanishes. So depending on what point of perspective, 1 point perspective, 2 point perspective, it varies. So for this type, usually in landscaping, we use 2 point perspectives wherein you have two vanishing points. So for example, you are going to create an imaginary horizon line. So this will be your basis of your vanishing point. So you can put one here. This is just an assumption because we are doing this freehand. This will be your guides in sketching. Okay, so let's zoom in that little closer. Okay, so these points here, these are vanishing points. They will help you in creating an idea, a view wherein it will look more realistic and more natural. So for example, there in your scenery you have a house or a building from afar, also a street, and a few trees. So the first thing you do is to assume that this is the land area or the part where the buildings are on. So this is the ground. Okay, so there. So this will be your guide. So it will seem like you're on a flat piece of land, and these are your vanishing points. So for example, your building is here. First, create your shape of your building. For example, your building is a box type. So create a box using the vanishing point. There, this is just a sketch just to help you out. There is a more precise method in doing this, but since this is just sketching, this is freehand, we don't use measurements. We are assuming, but we are assuming smartly in order for it to look in proportion and it is not distorted. Okay, so for example, this one is your building. So this one is this vanishing points will guide you where the views will go. So it goes like this to that direction, and as well as here in the floor. There you go. Also, if there's a lower part of the building, you can put it here. I'm just doing this very quick as a demo. When you do this, you do it slowly so you can present it better. There. Now, first, if you have a lot of landscape elements, just start with creating the outline shapes. For example, the road, just mark it like this. The ground. And for example, you have trees in the background. If you can see, these are just shapes because later you will be doing the details of your foliage or your entourage. Okay, so as you can see, it's like there's a line going to this vanishing point as well as this vanishing point. So for example, you have other buildings here. There. So just make the silhouette. So once you have done that, you already have your guides. For example, when you will be now finalizing the trees, first take note of the characteristics of the trees. Do their trunks grow a lot of branches? Do they have small leaves, wide leaves, or do they have bush-like texture? So for example, this one is a thin tall tree with a little bit of small leaves but a lot of branches. So start with rendering the trunk like this. And so this shape here is just a guide. You may use it and erase it later just to make sure that your leaves are present. So you will be using this rendering technique of putting small leaves and small dots. It depends on the type of tree that you will be drawing or you are looking at in your outdoor sketch. And so this shape is just a guide, and you can add your other branches. It's quite tiring or medyo nakakapagod, but patience is the key in creating a good rendering because it's all about the details. You can see that the drawing is rushed or not rendered properly if it's very done in a sloppy way. So mas magandang take your time and use it wisely. That's why when you get your plate, it's best to start right away because time constraints. It won't look that good if it's rushed. Okay, so you can use the tone and gradient techniques, your strokes, depending on the type of tree or the type of plant that you are going to present. And also use different types of pencils. I'm just using an HB pencil with different pressures of stroke. So when I apply darker or stronger pressure, the pencil marks are darker. When I apply it lighter, it's lighter in Yan, so make another tree. The technique is to Get the proper sizes of the leaves, the details, and try to apply to get the silhouette of it before you apply it on paper. So it really takes patience and time and perseverance as well. So kailangan hindi ka tamarin pag gagawin mo tong rendering. Then also do not forget to detail also your buildings. So for example, you will be putting some elements inside the building such as doors, openings, building design details. Also the texture of the different faces of the building. For example, this building is covered in reflective glass. So how will you present it? As well as in, or for example, it's covered in aluminum composite panels. And as you can see, I'm not doing smudge or smudge shading, which is doing it like this. It's better to do it using the strokes, the small strokes. It's a bit tiring, nakakatamad, pero mas effective siya compared sa yung mabilisang ganito lang. Yung ganito. It's quite sloppy tignan. So medyo matagal lang yung pag-render, but it's more effective. Also with a smaller scale, especially if you're talking about distance. Also, you can control your stroke to become lighter or not. So you can use blending techniques. You can also do cross-hatching. For example, this one. This part here is a bit darker. So do cross-hatching. Ayan, so if you want this part or this areas darker, you can add another layer of strokes. Ayan. Another one. There, so you can see the transition from dark to lighter parts. Also, you can also apply this in rendering your trees. So you can do some cross hatching here. As you can see, I'm not just shading. I'm doing a lot of strokes in different areas. It's not just rubbing your pencil on the paper. It's actually a lot of strokes. And so if you want this area, you can use cross hatching to darken it. This area here. Also, you can apply this in buildings. If you don't want to show the details of the background, you can just do like this. And so they will look just like a silhouette. You don't have to do some details of the building. Ganyan na lang siya. As well as these areas of your plants or trees. And this technique can be used in different styles as well as in different points of views, perspectives. Some people just create shapes and render their trees or their silhouettes. Ayan, ganyan lang. Some use it to make more detail. Kasi minsan pag mas malayo yung tinitignan natin, hindi na masyado rin makita yung detail, just the shape or the shadow. Ayan, so So it's all about using the strokes, different strokes, to create more detail in a sketch. Okay? So kahit hindi ka gumamit ng straight edges, kahit tinatansya mo lang yung straightness niya, it can be enhanced by the different areas and application of strokes. And changing in strokes also can give effect in the change of area or change of planes. And to differentiate a building far away, for example, may isa pang building dito, ganyan lang siya. Pwede natin siyang i-render using slanting lines, very light slanting lines. And para ipakita rin na hindi siya part ng area na to, this building. And also, let's say there's another building in here. Ayan. Okay, so basically, just when you're doing, you're gonna finish all elements starting from the uh, ground level, detail also the road or the ground area, the mid level wherein you will be showcasing the entourage. You may add people here. Ito yung previous activity nyo, that's why you were creating people. Also, if you want to put vehicles, cars, and so this will be your guide to Vanishing Point. Okay, so just wrap it up your perspective, then you will then don't be lazy in doing the renderings, detail everything, then that's it, you're good to go. So just apply the different techniques that you have been learning through the past modules. And I'll be giving another lecture, a recorded lecture using ink. Okay, so I will be uploading the video soon. Thank you and stay safe.